But let me introduce myself. Maybe there are some people here who don't know who I am. You're going to find out a little bit about me today. Not that it's just important for the talk to put the entire talk into context as we talk about using science of mind principles on a daily basis. And context sometimes is very important. Like I said, my name is Mark with a C. That's very important to me. Last name is Ruth, just like the babe, the candy bar, the book in the Bible. And if you've heard me talk up here before, with the encouragement of Dr. Moira, sometimes when the word truth is used, and I say, well, that's the truth from Ruth. I'm not talking about Ruth in the Bible. I'm talking about my last name. So Dr. Moira said, well, you got to brand yourself. You got to use that more often. Well, I don't like to overuse it, but it has a nice ring to it. So if and when I speak the truth, sometimes that might slip out. Now, like I said, I'm going to give you a little bit of my bio just to put it into context. I admit it, I am an attorney. And I know there are a lot of attorney jokes out there. But in doing some research, I found out that Ernest Holmes, the founder of Science of Mind, when he started doing all of his lectures and talks, he put a lot of jokes into his talk. And I did the research, and my mouth was agape because there was an attorney joke. I go, oh, unbelievable. Let me share it with you. These four gentlemen, a doctor, a lawyer, a businessman, and a banker finance guy, all grew up together, close friends, old golfing buddies, all of that stuff. Unfortunately, the investment banker guy passes away. And the other three guys just said, oh, he just had a love of money. That was his passion. And, we got to do something. And so sure enough, at the open casket, the businessman walks by and throws in a $100 bill and says, may this go with you. And, so the businessman goes by. The doctor goes, oh, I like that. Whew. Whips out his $100 bill, puts it into the open casket. And then along comes the lawyer, whips out his checkbook, writes a check for $300, and puts it into the casket. Okay. I know there are a lot of attorney jokes out there, but I'm going to tell you right now, there's only two. Everything else is the truth. Some people say there is a third attorney joke, but that's if you've ever hired an attorney and he gives you the bill. Okay. Now, I'm one of the good guy attorneys because most of my career I've worked for companies. The Caterpillar dealer out on the 605 freeway, I was there for 20 years. And in my early 40s, late 80s, they also assigned me to be the director of human resources because I knew a little bit about employment law. I knew absolutely nothing about personnel. So I went and hired an experienced HR manager, older than I was, experienced, and he taught me a lot. Got to the point where Caterpillar sent me for a training class so I could train others, management and employees at the dealership, in keeping customer first. Listening skills, interpersonal skills, problem solving, how to deal with customers and encourage them to come back. So I said, okay, I did that. I then came here to the center in 1998. My wife, Monica, brought me. And I took Science of Mind every other year, Science of Mind 1 for about 4 years. And then Science of Mind 2, about 4 years, every other year. Monica finally says, hey, she wants to become a practitioner. I said, okay, fine. I'll take the classes. 3 years worth of classes. I decide, hey, I too want to become a practitioner. So I learned a lot about Science of Mind. And I became a practitioner in 2011. Okay? So I was starting to feel pretty good about this Science of Mind thing. I think I was understanding it. But I'm not here to give you this background to lecture you that I'm some type of expert. I simply want to put things into context that I'm fairly knowledgeable about interpersonal skills, and relationships. So that brings us to using science of mind principles on a daily basis. And I said we're going to talk about the yard sale. We called it in honor of Reverend Aaron, former minister here who passed away, who used to run all of the yard sales. God bless her. She did an outstanding job. And, sometimes the men's group gets together and we say, hey, what are we doing? We just talk about spirit a lot. Really? We talk about many things in the men's group, but finally somebody says, hey, shouldn't we be in service? I said, yeah, we're ready to do anything. And so the ideas started just coming out. Ooh, we could do this, we could do that, we could do this. And you never want to crush someone's creativity, right? You really want to hear all the ideas. And then when you settle on an idea and you then have to get an action plan, that's when you start giving your opinion of, well, maybe we should do this. Now that we focused on it, how do we do it? How do we do it best? How do we do it efficiently? So that's how the conversation came about. And so we said, okay, we're gonna do the Hidden Treasures Yard Sale. But we established our intent, our conviction. We said, we want this to be a success. We want to attract volunteers. We're going to attract customers. Things are just going to flow. Everything's going to come out right. And we set that intention. And I got to say, it wasn't just the men's group. I see a number of women here who are at that yard sale. Without all of the volunteers, it wouldn't have happened. Without everyone who donated the goods for sale, it wouldn't have happened. Not only was it a financial success of maybe about $3,000, but maybe what was more important is feeling that energy, that vibration of this spiritual community coming together. And everybody played a role, and that was extremely, extremely satisfying. Now, we could say that we manifested that. We set our intention, we put the prayer treatment or the statement of truth into operation, and I just know, now looking at it with 20/20 hindsight, super success. Now, there was a writer in the 1940s, playwright, William Saroyan, said, good people are good because they've come to wisdom through failure. We get very little wisdom from success, Well, I said to myself, is that a true statement? Do we only get success from our failures? And I don't think that's entirely true. And as I keep talking, I'm going to give you some examples. I'll do it right now. The volunteers. We had all the stuff in the storage unit. We had to get it into Richelieu Hall. A lot of the stuff, a lot of the clothes and everything were in bags. So it had to be transported from there to Richelieu Hall. Then those bags had to be sorted, put on tables so people could buy it. Like I say, there were men who were doing some sorting. I will grant you that. But the vast majority were women. And they knew what they were doing when they were sorting clothes. They knew how to fold things. They knew how to organize tables. It was marvelous. And with some of my past training, I would praise them. But I wouldn't just say, oh, that's a good job. Thank you very much. No. I would say, boy, the way you organized that table, that was fantastic. Because I was specific in my praise, encouraging their success. If you would have seen what was the boutique room, we call it the through room going to Montessori, at the start, I said, well, good luck, ladies. I had, Jane Zumbrow and Vernetta. They were the boutique ladies. Thursday morning, I went in there by noontime. It was totally transformed. It looked like a place that had higher limit goods and that you wanted to buy something. They transformed that room, and that's what I praised them on. So I think that sometimes success, if it's rewarded and it's repeated, I think wisdom can come from that too. Not to say that when there are failures, we also learn a lot from our failures. Now, so, you're sitting there saying, gee, this is daily use of science of mind, and man, everything is pretty rosy. Things are going good. Yeah, things were flowing wonderfully. We set our intention. Things were cooking. And then I had some personal challenges. I found out on Thursday as we were setting up, I had designated to 2 individuals to handle on Monday to get a company to come in and take everything that we hadn't sold, which is a lot. So I figured, well, Thursday, I'm watching these people bring things in. I'm watching the sorting. There's things happening. I send my text. Oh, no, I didn't do that. I let the other guy do it. Oh, okay. Other guy was there. No, I didn't hear about it. He jumps on the phone. I'm starting to get a little agitated. My angel shows up. And you might know David Mintz. He and his wife, Jan, ran the Angel Project for about 4 years. So they were very experienced in organizing people, getting things done, and cleanup. And my angel, David Mintz, came to the rescue. He said, Mark, you got to calm down. He says, you got a lot of other things going on, and this too will be handled. Just let it go. Whew. Took my deep breath, said, thank you very much, David. Got me refocused on getting things out, organizing, doing whatever I had to do. And he comes up to me, couldn't have been more than 20 minutes later, and he says, Mark, it's all handled. Said, what are you talking about? We're still sorting? No. Monday is handled. A group will come out and pick everything up. They're a charity from Long Beach. They were recommended by St. Vincent de Paul, who could not get here to the 29th, but these guys will be here on Monday. That's science of mind in action right there. Why? I didn't dwell on it. I did let it go. I had bigger fish to fry, and it got handled. Sometimes we refer to him on St. Dave, but he doesn't like that. He's my angel. Now, that wasn't too bad. But what started happening after we're set up, people are coming in now on Friday, Saturday, buying things, and people are coming up to me and saying, well, Mark, what we need to do is we have to put signs down on PCH. What? Unfortunately, this is where I fell off the wagon. You hear a couple of suggestions. Oh, okay. But when I kept getting these suggestions, unfortunately, my reaction was one of, are they criticizing me? Are they saying I didn't do a good job? Well, if we didn't think about this in advance, where were they 3 months ago? Where were they 2 months ago? I said to one person, I says, well, why didn't you just go make a sign? Now, with all of that human resource training, with all of those interpersonal skills, with all of those science of mind classes, with being a practitioner, and with things going generally pretty well, I lost it. And you say, well, that's not so bad. You just told the person to go make a sign. No. What could I have said if I was coming from love, kindness, and harmony? I could have just said, hey, That's a great idea. Thank you. We'll definitely keep that in mind for next time. To anybody's suggestion, well, what did I forget? Don Miguel Ruiz and the 4 agreements. I didn't make my word impeccable. That's the very first agreement. Don Miguel Ruiz, in his book, The 4 Agreements, will tell you that making your word impeccable is the most important because those words have power. It sets the dynamic of a relationship in motion. And I chose, maybe not consciously, maybe I didn't do so much choosing, but I reacted rather than responding. And I said, well, maybe you should have made that sign yourself. Well, I definitely regret that. But what does Don Miguel Ruiz say about making your word impeccable? And by the word impeccable means without sin. If I love myself, I will express that love in my interactions with you. And then I am being impeccable with my word because it will produce a like reaction. There's that law of attraction again. What you sow, so shall you reap. Being impeccable with your word is the correct use of your energy. It means to use your energy in the direction of truth and love for yourself. So, my word was not impeccable. And then I realized, why in the world am I taking this personally? Well, the second agreement from Don Miguel Ruiz is, don't take anything personally. Here, I'm taking recommendations for improvement to a yard sale that is going wonderfully well with a lot of volunteers and a lot of congregational support. And I'm taking suggestions personally. I mean, one of it was with my right-hand guy in the men's group, Dan Benner. He's saying, well, Mark, maybe we should think about this. And I said, Dan, we could have talked about this Dan didn't bat an eye at me. He rolled off of his back. He says, no problem. I'll just start making notes. That's good for you. But when I got a couple of these others, I took it personally. That now forced me, after the fact, why did I take it personally? But let's see what Don Miguel Ruiz has to say about that. Whatever happens around you, don't take it personally. When you take things personally, then you feel offended, and your reaction is to defend your beliefs and create conflicts. You make something big out of something so little because you have the need to be right and make everybody else wrong. Well, I surely wish I would have read and reminded myself, because I've read the 4 agreements before. And that's why using science of mind principles on a daily basis is important. Because even if you have a lot of interpersonal skills training, even if you have a lot of science of mind training, even if you're a practitioner, guess what? We all fall off the wagon. And the question becomes, how long do we want to stay mired in that condition? Well, I don't want to ignore it. I mean, I'm having all these wild feelings. But I can say, okay, I'm feeling this, but they're not directing it at me. Why are you taking this personally? And I think Don Miguel Ruiz hit it right. I wanted to be right. I wanted this to go perfectly. And that's why I said we had to put this all in context, because things were going great. Now, the next challenge, all right, I fell off the wagon. how long am I going to stew and be mired in that? Dave Mintz told me with the little episode, let it go. It'll be taken care of. Once I am aware, I created my own hot button, and I let someone else control my feelings and my attitudes. I was living my life from the outside in. In my training and our teachings here in Science of Mind is we live from the inside out. So instead of creating conflict, like in the opening prayer, we want to harmonize the circumstances around us. Right? That's what we want to do. So, I now, for the next daily lesson, said, okay, I'm not going to stew on it. I'm not going to mind. I apologize to those people who gave me suggestions, and I snapped at them, and I apologize for that. My behavior, I should have known better. I'm not going to should on myself too much. I'm going to let that pass and say, okay, you're human. Forgive yourself, move on, and focus on what you want to bring into your life. Because if I keep dwelling on that negativity, I'm going to bring more of that negativity into my life. A very important lesson I learned during the yard sale. So now it's cleanup time, 3 p.m., Sunday. Now, I did have some negative thoughts at about 2:45 when a member of the church, first time I saw that person, came in and started shopping. Well, I do have some volunteers chomping at the bit, ready to clean up. Well, why didn't you show up a half hour earlier? But I let that pass real fast. I said, I'm not even worried about it. Fine, maybe she'll buy $2 worth and I'll be a happy camper. Didn't even faze me. I said, oh, okay, good. At which point, I was introduced to a homeless person. And they said, Mark, can you take care of this gentleman? I said, yeah, well, let me see what I can do. But unfortunately, it's like 3:15. The food has been put away. Things are being put back into bags. Clothes are being taken off the racks. And this is no small guy. I mean, I know I was getting short with people, but I'm only 5'8". This guy had to be 6'2"-ish at least. And I said, well, how can I help? He said, you have any food? I said, well, I don't handle that, but we can check with the ladies inside. But what else can I get you? He says, well, I wear size 13 shoes. I turned to the shoe table, and believe me, we had tons of shoes. A lot of them are put away already. I went and checked. Nope, don't have any of that. Okay, I go to the rack. There's still some things on the rack. I get Monica, my wife was there. She says, Monica, do we have any big stuff? Big stuff. You know, well, I got a XXL sweatshirt here, a hoodie. I'll take that. Oh, I got a XXL windbreaker. I'll take that. What else can I get for you? And he says, well, do you happen to have something, a luggage with wheels? I said, you bet. I turned to the luggage table, and the big stuff's all gone. I go, oh, Lordy be. But there was like a satchel type device that had wheels. Will this work? Yeah. Boom, boom, boom. Why is this all important? Another Science of Mind lesson here. And it really comes from the book, The Law of Attraction by Esther and Jerry Hicks. How did I hold that person in consciousness? I saw he needed help. Well, I jumped in. Listen to what the Hicks have to say. In their book, The Law of Attraction. Let us say you see those who are in need of something. Perhaps they have no money, transportation, or food. And you see them, you feel sad because you are focused on their lack and activating that within your own vibration. And from your place of sadness, you offer them the action of money or food. The vibration that you are transmitting is actually saying to them, I do this for you because I see that you cannot do it for yourself. Your vibration is actually focused upon their lack of well-being, and therefore, even though you have offered money and food through your action, your dominant offering is perpetuating their lack. Wow. Here, I thought I was helping the person. But where in my consciousness was I coming from? Hicks provides the answer. It is our encouragement that you take the time to imagine those people in a better situation. Practice the thought of their success and happiness in your own mind, and once that is the dominant vibration that you hold about them, then offer whatever inspired you in the first place. The whole difference is your consciousness. I said, man, that is very, very interesting. In the discussion group, that's what Catherine said, the first Thursday of the month, 2:00 here in the foyer, had some question concerning love, all different definitions of love. And the conversation came up, and one guy there, was speaking some of the Buddhisms. Well, kindness is very important. If we have kindness in all of our actions, that is really good stuff. Well, how can you go wrong with that? Then for some reason, the topic morphs to Putin. And somebody says, well, how can you like Putin? He's an evil person. He's doing bad things. The person who had just brought up kindness in all actions says, yeah, if I was over there, I'd take him out. Woo. Wow. How can you maintain both of those at the same time? Now, fortunately, I had read Hicks before that. And I said, well, what if we hold in consciousness what we would like to see? That person is kind, that person is humane, that person, we don't agree with the behavior, we separate the sin from the sinner, but I'm holding in consciousness good vibrations that I want to see attracted. And yet, I don't like the behavior. That brought home to me, once again in context, a long time studying science of mind and everything else of how do I get out of that trick bag of that's a bad person and I want to take him out versus my consciousness. And that got me out of that trick bag. And I can't 100% say with honesty that I was there with the homeless guy, but I surely had no animosity. So I'm making progress in holding that person in the highest and best good for them, whatever that highest and best good is. And I might not know what that is. Now, I like to have fun. And I think at the yard sale, except for those few episodes where I fell off the wagon, we were having fun. An example. At the cashier table, I had a couple of these buckets set up. It says, I love RBCSL, $. Well, I looked at it as a tip bucket. Well, to get tips from people, you have to engage them in a humorous manner. Okay, you have to interact with them. We got some people, they bought $25 worth of stuff, they threw $40 in. I said, well, thank you very much. Banging on the bucket and everything else. Took the 25, put it in the cashier. Now, that all went to the church anyway. But because there were 2 buckets, I set up a competition with the other table, unbeknownst to them. Now, as fate has it, very nice lady comes to the table where I had the bucket, and she's got a handbag, not one of our paper bags. She has like a handbag, and she says, well, I got all of that stuff out of the boutique. So I looked down. I didn't see any sold sign. A nice lady. She's wearing a USC lanyard around her neck. How do I approach this? And for once, I obviously didn't snap at this person. I didn't fall off the wagon. I was using my interpersonal skills, and I apologized profusely. I said, would you mind if I just double check with the boutique ladies? Would you just, oh, go ahead. They know I just bought these napkins. I just bought that. Oh, fine. I run over there. Yeah, they remember. I said, give me another sold sign. Boom. Come back and I say, I truly apologize. I didn't mean to offend you in any way, shape, or form. I said, but since you're wearing the USC lanyard, I will sing the USC fight song for you. I not only start singing the USC fight song because that's where I went undergraduate, she joins in and threw some money in the tip bucket. So a lot of good vibes. Now, this is in line with Science of Mind. This is not just Mark Ruth having fun, because you're setting up a vibration and you're setting up an attitude and you're dealing with people in a happy manner. They love that. And sometimes they're willing to tip you for that. But Ernest Holmes says in The Anatomy of Healing Prayer, I like beauty, laughter, and song, and dancing, and fun. And boy, I can buy into that Science of Mind theory in a heartbeat. Now, for the grand finale. I'm over, it took me a couple days. Got over this recommendation stuff. I'm going to create a manual of what we did, how we did it, why we did it. But I'm going to put in that manual all the suggestions I heard and all the suggestions Dan wrote down and any other suggestions that anybody wants to do to make it a better yard sale. Not to say that I'll do it next time, but to make it a better yard sale. So, part of the Science of Mind lesson, and before I was in Science of Mind, I had this little saying, when you least expect it the most. My nephew modified that somehow, blah, blah, blah. And then I said, well, maybe from Science of Mind, when you expect your good the least, you should, and here's that should word again, you should expect that good the most. Yesterday, I get this in the mail. Mark, my pleasure to work with you and your team to serve the church. Thank you for cutting me some slack. In my perception, I didn't cut this person any slack at all. Here is my donation. Please deposit it in the yard sale kitty. And I go, who would say donation on a postcard? She's putting it. I peel this thing open, and there's a $20 bill. Now, we can go back to William Soroyan, and he thinks that wisdom, you gain more wisdom from your failures than your successes. And I'm going to disagree with him. I'm going to say I think it's a combination, right? Because if we duplicate and repeat our successes, and isn't that the essence of what we're doing here in Science of Mind, is trying to repeat our successes through our statement of truth. Isn't that what we're trying to do? So, I disagree with this Pulitzer Prize Academy Award winner and saying, no, I think that wisdom can come from both, And I know that there is a very old German proverb. I can't do it in German anymore, but it's basically repetition is the mother of learning. And that can definitely apply in our science of mind as we practice our principles on a daily basis. This is the truth from Ruth. Thank you very much. So this is the time that we now continue to practice sharing. I guess Ruth could pass around this bucket, but she has her own. So please join with me in our sharing prayer. Divine love consecrates my gift. It goes forth to heal, to bless, and prosper all those who give and all those who receive. I rejoice in the sharing of my good, and I release my gift with love. And so it is.